My very favorite wife, Jill, has told me some tough things over the years. Stop snoring, take a shower before getting in my bed, and the worst one of all, stop watching High School Musical. That was a bridge too far. And as a retirement planner, those chats were nothing compared to the difficult conversations I have with my clients every single day. Conversations about politics, even though I'd rather not, about working, health and burnout, money, retiring, Social Security, and even swimming pools. So today, I'm going to highlight the 8 hardest, most brutal types of conversations I have with my clients. By the end of this video, you're going to have a clear understanding of what matters and, more importantly, what doesn't matter, and how an expert, term used loosely, approaches these potential landmines. Hey there, welcome to the Retirement Guide channel. I'm Daryl Rosen. My firm helps people all over the country plan for and enjoy a comfortable retirement. But please, don't make important decisions based upon this video because I don't know your unique situation. Consider this mostly informational and a bit entertaining, a bit like 1% entertaining. If you have a comment, please leave it because I do enjoy hearing from you. Let's get started by talking about 2 distinctly different things. A common rule in retirement planning that I'm not a fan of, the 4% rule, and swimming pools, which I am a fan of, provided I have enough sunscreen and suitable pool attire. The 4% rule says you can safely withdraw 4% of your savings each year adjusted for inflation, and your money should last 30 years. It's a safe and simple approach that works to make sure you don't run out of money. But here's the issue. It can also keep you from spending enough while you're younger and healthier. I have a client who really wanted a swimming pool, but felt tied to the 4% rule. She was worried that digging a hole in her backyard and filling it with water would ruin her finances. She was wrong. The problem with the 4% rule is that it ignores important factors like your Social Security benefit or a pension. She had one. Spending habits, where you live, whether you have long-term care insurance. She did. In retirement, we often talk about making your money last, but we also need to focus on making your money livable. For my client, the tough conversation was this. You have the money. You have guaranteed income for life. Let's figure out how you can enjoy it now and still be secure in your swimming pool, even if there isn't a lifeguard present. So that first conversation is, do you want to trust your future to a rule of thumb like the 4%? Some of the other brutal conversations revolve around misconceptions on money, healthcare, and Social Security. But for now, let's transition to a topic that has become more and more sensitive over the years. I'd rather not discuss politics with my clients, but it's clear that beliefs often influence how people see the world, even their finances. I work with clients across the entire political spectrum. Some lean as far left as possible, some far right as possible. Many dive into rabbit holes and emerge with, shall we say, unique opinions. And here's the challenge. These beliefs are often disconnected from reality. But do you know what is grounded in reality? Your retirement plan. And as we sit here in the beginning of 2025, it's worth remembering that over the past 10, 20, 50, or even 100 years, people have held all kinds of beliefs, yet through it all, the markets have continued to move forward, independent of political ideologies or personal convictions. Recently, I had a tough conversation with a client whose political views were driving their financial decisions. They asked me to act on information that simply was not credible. So here's what I tell people. Believe what you want, but the second tough conversation I have with my clients is that the best financial advice and decisions are often right down the middle, rooted in facts and not opinions. Staying balanced is what keeps your retirement on track no matter what's happening in the world. Speaking of maintaining balance, I had a client who maintained his balance until he blacked out. Frank was dealing with bad knees and heart palpitations. His doctor thought his job was taking a toll. Frank thought maybe that it was constantly changing technology and young colleagues with strong opinions on how he should do his job. He felt burned out, but he soldiered on until he found himself in the emergency room. So we had a tough conversation about his health, and now he has a retirement date. I think he knew it was time. I've seen burnout take a serious toll on my clients. It's not just being tired, it's constant exhaustion that leaves you drained, disoriented, and unable to recover. Burnout can also lead to anxiety, depression, and physical issues like headaches, stomach problems, and trouble sleeping. Sometimes it's worth asking yourself, is your job really worth the cost to your health? Another sign it's time to step away is when work interferes with managing health conditions, like if stress prevents you from getting rest, treatment, making lifestyle changes. Retiring may be necessary. So that third conversation is about health and knowing when it's time to step away. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about Social Security and your decision to retire or keep working. It's a giant myth that deciding when to claim Social Security is the most critical retirement decision. It's important, but it's not life or death. With that said, it's often one of the toughest conversations I have with clients because it feels so final, so permanent, like doing it wrong could ruin your entire plan. Here are two things to consider. One, you don't know how long you're going to live. So my in-laws both passed away at 81, which was far too early. For them, claiming at 62 would have made more sense. The truth is we can't predict the future. I know I had a crystal ball once, but it broke. Plus, it was never right. Two, sometimes you simply need the money. I have a client retiring at 65 without a pension. He could start withdrawing from his retirement savings or claim Social Security to take pressure off his portfolio. Either way, the money has to come from somewhere. This decision weighs heavily on my clients. They worry about waiting too long or claiming too soon or making the wrong choice. But when I run the numbers, the lifetime difference is often quite minimal. So it's the fourth brutal conversation. Focusing too much on Social Security, which can take your attention away from what really matters, making the best decision for your mind and body. So that's the Social Security discussion. Closely related is I'll talk about Medicare and the terrible misconception that you can't retire until you're eligible for Medicare, which is health insurance for people over 65. Okay, this one's kind of silly to me. I've met so many people over the years who want to retire but feel like they can't because of healthcare costs. And I think I know why. Most people have spent their careers working for companies where health insurance is provided by the employer, even if they're paying a bit more each year through their paycheck. So when they think about retirement, they panic at the idea of losing that employer-sponsored coverage. As someone who's been self-employed since 2007, I've learned that health insurance is just another expense to budget for. Yes, it can be expensive, but it's like any other necessary purchase. The reason this comes up so much in my role as a retirement planner is because many people stay stuck in their jobs they no longer love, or frankly, jobs that are slowly killing them because they're worried about securing health care before they're eligible for Medicare. The truth is, it's just one giant math problem. Either you have enough to cover your insurance or you don't. So that fifth conversation is often just about mathematics. You can retire, you can't afford health insurance, here's how you do it. The next brutal subject is feedback many people do not want to hear, that they have to work longer to make retirement financially feasible. I know I just talked about how real burnout it is and you don't want to push yourself to a health crisis. But for some, continuing to work is the only option. I've met a lot of people in tough situations, those who've gone through painful divorces, bankruptcy, or simply just don't have enough saved. So the sixth critical conversation is about extending your working years. And while it's not an easy decision, it can be the smart one. Maybe it's continuing to work full-time or scaling back to part-time. Either way, adding a few more working years could mean more savings and less financial stress in retirement. Plus, if you're 50 or older, you can take advantage of catch-up contributions, which allow you to put more into your Roth or IRA accounts, depending on your income. Also, recent changes even let those aged 60 to 63 save more in tax-deferred accounts, so that's good. It's the sixth tough conversation I often have with my clients, and sadly, it's often the right one. You have to keep working. The next conversation isn't one I have with all my clients. It requires a deeper understanding of their personal journey. It's about work identity and transitioning to the next phase of life. The seventh conversation is about how to be happy in retirement. One of the most overlooked parts of retirement is finding a new sense of purpose and identity. For many, work is more than a paycheck. It's a foundation for their life. It provides structure, social connections, and a sense of accomplishment. When that's gone, you can feel lost or aimless. There's a lot of research that shows that if you're deeply tied to your work, well, you have a greater chance of struggling more with mental well-being after retiring. This emotional challenge can also make it harder to achieve financial and personal goals. And I've seen this firsthand. My family owned a chain of wine stores called Sam's, named after my grandfather. My dad was the face of the business, and it defined him. I worked behind the scenes as a CFO, and when we sold the business in 2007, I moved into consulting and eventually this line of work. That transition wasn't seamless, but it was manageable because my identity was not so closely tied to the business. My dad, on the other hand, he struggled deeply to adjust after leaving. So how do you fill the void? The key is to plan ahead for activities that bring meaning and fulfillment. Hobbies, volunteer work, new passions pursued before retiring can make the transition smoother for you. Replacing a work identity isn't just about staying busy, it's about maintaining purpose and feeling valued. So here are a few ways to do that in retirement. Lifelong learning is certainly one of them. Enrolling in courses and workshops, cooking, learning a new language, studying history. Learning keeps your mind active and your life enriched. The second thing to think about is staying connected to work, considering part-time roles, consulting, or even a new career. Staying engaged provides structure and purpose, makes the transition a little bit easier. And then exploring passions. My wife Jill taught herself Canva. She enjoys creating custom signs for our friends' weddings. It's not about the money, it's about doing something she loves. Retirement shouldn't just be about leaving work behind, it's about discovering new ways to grow, thrive, and find joy in this next chapter. Let's get to the eighth and final conversation. This one's about money. I have a client who wants me to grow his retirement savings to make up for not having enough money. The problem? That's not realistic without taking on a ton of risk. So let's break that down a bit. The S&P 500, which is a common measure of the stock market, has grown 53% over the past 2 years. Imagine you have $300,000 saved for retirement, but you believe 350 is a better number. You want someone like me to get you there. I could try, but two things have to happen. The first thing is I have to be really aggressive with your money. I have to take some risks. The second thing is the market has to rise significantly, which would lift everything with it. Neither of these is a good or reliable strategy. My perspective on this comes from a book I wish I had read 40 years ago called The Psychology of Money. Maybe you've read it. The author points out that there are 3 ways to have more money: save more, earn more, or want less. Notice what's missing: higher investment returns. This makes for a tough but honest conversation. Number 8, we can't invest our way to a different outcome. Retirement is far better to protect what you already have to ensure yourself a secure standard of living, rather than taking big risks hoping for something better. That's just how it works. And yes, it's a hard truth to accept, but it's critical for peace of mind in retirement. All right, so I covered a lot with these brutal conversations, but I can't cover it all, especially if I don't know your unique situation. If I can help you with my fee-based retirement planning or hourly consulting, please click the link in the description to see if I'm the right fit for you. If you like this video, you might like one of these over here or over here, somewhere on the screen, and thanks for watching.